Kids. So now we're going to look at this website that has actually been very helpful for me as a writer, and therefore I want to share it with you. And it is a partnership between Pixar and Khan Academy, and they created a unit or whatever about storytelling. And so what it does is it really helps you start to bring storytelling to life. It talks about the process that the animators go through and the writers go through in order to create the movies, and many of the ideas translate into what you do as well. So as you start on the page that will pop up for you, you can see that there's all these different videos and activities. So the videos will give you the mini lessons. Those are approximately 2 to 5 minutes, I think, depending on the different ones. And you can kind of decide where you want to start. I do want for you to watch this introduction to storytelling video because it is the overall unit, and I'd like for you to kind of take a look at that. But over here on the left, you can see some different elements. Now, film grammar and storyboard your film are not necessarily ones that are going to help you in writing class, but I do want for you to take a look at this idea of character. They have the introduction, they have warm-up activities I'll click into in just a second. And then they talk about all the different conflicts and obstacles that characters should face when you're telling a story. They happen to make movies, obviously, but this will help you really focus on characterization in any story. It doesn't matter. Okay. Same thing with story structure. How do you start thinking about theme and the acts that your videos are in? One of my favorite characterization videos, I believe, is the introduction to character. It was a perfect way to start thinking about it. And, you know, I want for you to picture your own elevator if you watch that one. And if you put, you know, your teachers in there, who would be the one who's trying to problem solve? Who'd be the one who's freaking out? Who'd be the one who's like, yeah, we're fine? Or put you and your best friends in there, and who's the one again who's freaking out, and who's the one who's doing all these things. And so what it helps you do is in your notebook you can list out your characters from your book, maybe make like a 4 quadrant thing on a piece of paper, put your characters in there. And if you're like, well, I know that this person is the one who's usually scared, then as you write that story, you can be like, okay, well, I'm writing about Joe, and Joe's my one who's scared, and we're trapped with this monster. How is Joe going to react? And if you kind of have these notes about Joe, you'll be able to develop that. So for example, that might look like this. You would have, let's say I have Joe, he's super nervous. My names that I always come up with are just amazing. I have Kate, and Kate is like level-headed, problem solver, she's level-headed. And so what would happen is if you are facing a monster, you would know who would start to do what. So if all of a sudden, now sometimes it's that contrast and contradiction, I get that. If you sometimes the character may act that way because of that contrast, and that's totally fine if you do it right. But overall, the first time you're facing a monster, Joe's not going to be the one who's like, yeah, let's go get the monster. It's amazing. Okay, Kate may not be that way either because she's more of a problem solver and level-headed, but maybe you also have Matt, and Matt is like, he just like jumps into situations, doesn't always think, I don't know. So maybe Matt would be the one who's like, there's a monster, let's go get it. And Kate's like, whoa, Matt, because she's level-headed. And Joe's like, yeah, guys, like, I don't think I really want to do this. I'm kind of out, you know what I'm saying? And so you are able to develop your characters based on this making a chart so that you can kind of understand who is whom. So in this, the videos are here. You can see they have the play button over on the left-hand side. The activities are not necessarily required, but I would like for you to try some of the things. So whether you do these activities as a whole, where you go into your journal and you literally either you think of a memory that you remember vividly, it could be a memory that comes easily to you, and you write down that memory, or if you go into a story that you've already written and start to think about some of these different elements of trying to express memory and emotion. So if you have a character facing a monster and you're like, I don't really want to write down about the time that I tripped and fell right on my face. What I want to do instead is be able to, I have no idea what's over my face. I want to be able to talk about, express my memory in a way. Tell your memory to someone, write your memory on a page, using only lines and shapes. So maybe you sketch something out. Maybe that activity doesn't work for what I have going on. So I'm going to try to come in here. Now I'm going to think about some films, but again, I'm going into my piece. What does all of my writing seem to have in common? Maybe I'm writing a lot of poetry or nervous fantasy, et cetera, et cetera. So your job is to do a little exploring. I do want for you on the main page where it starts with We Are Storytellers, I do want for you to at least watch the introduction of storytelling video because I want you to understand how this whole thing is put together. In fact, you could go into each of these different ones and watch the introduction video and kind of decide if it is talking about elements in writing that you want to enhance your own writing. And if that's the case, then maybe you start there. Again, the film grammar, you can watch the introduction video, but I think this is going to be more about the art of developing the animation, the movie, etc. So don't spend a lot of time here unless you watch it, and it's different than what I thought it was. So, all right, so enjoy Pixar. I want to see you getting in here. The link is on the document that you've been provided, and yeah, take a look. Hope you enjoy.